Hey, it's Michael, and welcome to week 5. Hey, it was an exciting week last week. I'm really happy to see all of you trying early and moving up the ladder. Remember, we started with the quickest data modeling course ever, so that you learned about this world of name value pairs. You learned how to get data and why data is so important to the internet because it's this massive amount of repetition of data, and that's kind of what it is. And this week you learned that, hey, there's this language that is just that. It's just a language, and you can use it or not use it. In fact, you kind of play the role of a developer without a design in front of them. Like if you had a design, you could kind of say like, oh, I need this to be this. And if you did look at the thing you were doing, you were trying to design it. And I warn against that because honestly, that's not how I view this. The design comes from a thing called CSS. And while there is such a thing as default style sheet, it kind of defaults to making some things big and whatever. You can actually change everything about the look and feel. You can remove things. Anyway, you can literally change everything with CSS. And because CSS isn't the markup, you have an enormous amount of freedom because it's sort of a layer on top of the markup. But if you embed the two, and I've had this happen to me, I went in and I spec'd that this particular link should be blue, and the developers went in and added the thing that this link is blue to every link. So when we wanted to go and change that link to green or whatever, you see what I mean? It was an enormous job. Whereas with CSS, it's literally a line. So if your markup is good, your design is going to be easier. Now, how do you mark things up? I just want to thank all of you who came in and early and gave this a try. I want to say thank you to Livy, and I want to just take a look at where she's at. And let's do it. There we go. I think it's this one. There we go. So here's what you're going to do. For one, please always start with your fields because I don't know what you're marking up and I don't know how many fields there are offhand, right? So I'm just going to kind of count. And what then the next one is when you translate, oh, by the way, if those field names, you've actually invented a thing called XML, which is you can make up any name you want, but it pushes the problems to someplace else. So we're actually translating it, and here you go. Here's an article, and I can sort of see the article beginning and somehow ending, right? So I want to see a beginning and an ending. And that's the only thing to get used to, really, is that you can read it now. You say, here's an article that has a title, and then there's a nav that has a thing in it. And then I just read, wow, it's got some helpers in here. Anyway, then there's a section. So I am looking for these words. Like if you have repetition of these, maybe I'd say try a different tag, right? There's no you can change these as much as you want. Honestly, the tags you choose, except for headers, and I just want you to start to be sensitive that headings are extremely powerful, right? They're useful in every kind of formatting for a computer. I'll just say that any headers mean that things underneath it are part of that header, and this is explaining this thing, which explains these things. So if you ran into this problem, which you probably did, and I'll just kind of head over to Tara's here. Okay, here we go. So here's what you're marking up. Great. When you get in here, you might start to realize that do I need to put the name of the column next to this thing? I see this quite a bit. In fact, I see a lot of people making that bold to differentiate one from the other. Well, semantically, it doesn't work that way, right? Like having something bold doesn't give it literally any meaning. It just gives it a look. And if you have to repeat the column names next to the value every single record, boy, your design is going to get very busy. So one of the puzzles this week is, could you, by putting things together in a group, kind of give context by using one thing to another, which is, aha, seems really useful, right? That is the secret that you may or may not have gotten this week, but it's fine. We're going to get a chance to update this if you haven't mastered the use of HTML and you have done a few of these things, maybe because you didn't know or that you copied from someone else, which is fine. I mean, this should be typable, right? It's not supposed to be laborious. It's just like, what words do you choose? And by the way, summary, what a great tag to choose. Nicely done. So I'm looking for those choices of words and to have them being used meaningfully. And so words, we have a controlled vocabulary. This is the first time you're like, you don't get to make things up here. You get to put them here. We don't have classes, by the way. Some of you have markup that has classes, and it's like, we don't even want to go there because then that's just more made up words and it's a whole other nightmare to be in because you already have words. They're right here. There's plenty of them, so this is what we're using. So let's go to week 5 because I want to see like now these words become super important. They become a thing called a taxonomy. And this taxonomy is also something you don't get to make up, right? Don't worry, we'll get to things you get to make up soon. So I've got a couple videos about it. We're still at information because if you aren't intelligible to a computer, then you're not going to be found, right? So we're just going down here, we're grouping things by names. Now we need to understand the groups that define our topic. Now, those can be a while. There's a little movie scene here about someone organizing records. It's kind of funny because many people get very into organization. Here's somebody who's decided to organize wines by their taste. Wild. But this is a typical one. If you were doing beers, like these have names and they have meanings behind the names and there's conventions behind the names. So that's all you need to make sure is that the taxonomies around your topic of your data are known to you and used in your markup, usually pretty, they need to be pretty good. We call it nouns because these are, again, kind of descriptive of the thing itself. So if you need to share your HTML, you posted late, posted here early so I can give you feedback so you can work on it. We're going to do a little exercise about keywords, which is, let's say you are doing cars. If your keyword is car, guess what? Hard to ever get noticed because everyone will use that keyword. You might want a word that's extremely specific to cars. And that is actually a puzzle for you to think through, right? Like, what are really specific words to do with your topic? Also, we should all have existing taxonomies, so please go and research that. This is really easy to do, by the way, with GPT, although I really wouldn't use GPT to do your markup. I've seen a little bit of that, and I'm not a fan because it doesn't know our limitations, right? Our limitations are what is the word choice, not necessarily that it can't do the job of marking up things. It can do that, but it's a very specific, and also it does not have to be complicated. This really is more about your personal journey in making these choices. So make sure that, taxonomies, again, great research. Honestly, all of AI is built on taxonomies, and all of the work that we've done has helped build AI. So if you wondered, how does it know anything? It's because we've done AI, information architects have done this work in the past. So good luck with week 5, halfway through.